There's been a lot of talk about the problems Republicans find themselves in today. One of the measures of that is party identification. Fewer Americans identify as Republicans compared to Democrats. We can delve into the data and find that one of the reasons that Democrats do well on a relative basis is the fabled gender gap. Look at the data. These are for the first quarter 2009. Among women, there's a 14-point spread between the percent identifying as Democrat and Republican, 41 to 27. That's where this great Democratic advantage comes from. If you shift over to men, it's just a 2-point advantage. That is 30% of men identifying as Democrats, almost as many, 28% identifying as Republicans. Let me point out one other interesting fact. The data don't so much suggest that it is women who are much less likely than men to identify as Republicans, as you might have thought. Look at the numbers there. It's 27% Republican among women, 28% for men. That's not the issue. The big difference comes in the difference identifying as Democrats. Men seem to be congregating in that independent category rather than declaring themselves as Democrat, where women move out of the independent category and indeed tell us that they are Democratic in political orientation. A little historical context for you. This is not new. Look at the data from a year ago, first quarter of 2008, virtually the same. 13-point gender gap, Democratic over Republican among women, just a 1-point gender gap for men. However, go back to when President George W. Bush was more popular, back in the first quarter of 2005. Notice how everything shifted. There were more Republicans and fewer Democrats in general, so among women it was only a 2-point Democratic advantage. Among men, the whole thing had shifted over to where there was a 7-point Republican advantage. So the gap still existed, it's just that everybody back then was more Republican in orientation. Bottom line out of all of this, it's not a new phenomenon. Women more likely to be Democratic than men. That's a gender gap. That's a problem right now for the Republican Party, but it has been for the last several years. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief at the Gallup poll.